Swing and a miss. Struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of baseball.
And the Sixers win it! Wow!
Oh, man, Embiid just posterized Russell Westbrook. You love the Philadelphia Eagles. Let me get a hell yeah!
What is up, everybody? What's going on? It is Dives, Mr. Crockpot on Twitter. Welcome to Party on Broad. Party on Broad can be found on iTunes and Spotify. Smash that subscribe button, guys. You're watching us here at the TPL YouTube channel. Today is our Week 6 preview show. The Eagles take on the Baltimore Ravens. Today, we're going to break down our final takes of the loss versus the Pittsburgh Steelers, and then we're going to talk about the top storylines and matchups against the Baltimore Ravens. Joining me today is my man. He is Rob. Follow him on Twitter at Philly_Madness. What up, Rob?
Hey, man, it's I'm glad to be back. It's been a while since I haven't potted in a while, man. So I'm excited. I'm excited to get back going here.
From we were talking before we recorded, man. I think you're ready. I got the vibe is you're ready. All right. Also joining us today is my man Dylan. You know him from the Faithful Fanatics podcast. Follow him on Twitter at DylanJD98. What's going on, Dylan?
What's going on? Yeah, I feel like it's been a while. I didn't get a chance to do 2 weeks ago. I don't know. With the 49ers show last week seems like forever ago. So it's been a while.
We have James.
Way to start off positive, James.
We're screwed. Oh, that's so funny. We're going to talk about the Ravens game moving forward. Let's talk about final thoughts on the Eagles' loss to the Steelers. And my final thought, being an Eagles fan, it's exhausting, guys. It's straight up exhausting. And I'm sick and tired of watching the same problems plague this team week in and week out. I had Zach Berman join our podcast yesterday morning, and he said it best. There isn't a single biggest issue on this fucking team that you can simply patch up and fix, and the Eagles are an instant Super Bowl contender. There are major flaws on this squad, and they exist top to bottom. And the loss to the Steelers really emphasized that, and that boils me down to Jim Schwartz. If there was anything to take away from Sunday, it proved that the inconsistency of Jim Schwartz's defense. And I am sick and tired of watching the Sticks defense get exposed over and over and over again. It's his refusal to put guys in spots to succeed. How many times have we seen a slow corner? We saw it with Jalen Mills a couple days ago, playing 10 yards off of the line and then get beat over and over and over again. It's his refusal and neglect of the linebacker position. Quite simply, Jim Schwartz, the wide 9 defense, it does not work in today's modern NFL. You talk about Nate freaking Gary. He's been targeted 23 times on defense, 23 completions. The fact that Schwartz failed to see Chase Claypool on Nate Gary in a split tight end set, that tells you everything you need to know about this guy. We have 2 head coaches in Jim Schwartz and a defensive coordinator in Doug Peterson, defensive coordinator in Jim Schwartz. And these guys, it's all you need to know. These guys have the playbook in front of their face. They're too stubborn to adjust, and they are missing what's happening on the field. That has been the storyline of this entire season of the last, honestly, 2 years. And I'm just tired of it. The inconsistencies of Jim Schwartz and Doug Peterson are failing this team. You cannot put a single, finger on a single, you cannot put your finger on a single issue on the Philadelphia Eagles. And I pray to God that Jeffrey Lurie is watching this, because that is the solution. Jeffrey Lurie has to make a difference, has to say enough is enough. Let 2017 die. It is not good enough. Your floor is yours, Rob.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about a few things here. Number one, Nate Gary. Now, I saw a stat today, and I don't know if this is real. But if this is a real stat, we have a problem. Nate Gary, 100% of the snaps, right? The guy, for some reason, doesn't come off the field. He's Malcolm Jenkins to Jim Schwartz, I guess.
It's crazy.
5 solo tackles. 5. Your boy, Dives, Sean Bradley, I think has been on the field for 5% of the snaps. 3 solo tackles. Someone explain to me what type of pictures Nate Gary has on Jim Schwartz and Howie Roseman. I don't know if he has them in a dress, if he has them in an awkward position with someone that I don't know, but he's got something. This reminds me of the years where, and here's the name from the past, where Nate Brown, wide receiver Nate Brown, continued to earn a roster spot for Andy Reid, even though he did nothing. Nate Gary has quickly catapulted to one of my all-time most hated Eagles of all time. That's over Kurt Coleman, Mark Simoneau, Casey Matthews. There's a lot of them that are guys that I just never could get with. Nate Gary is that guy. As far as Jim Schwartz is concerned, let's talk about the arrogance of Chip Schwartz, as I'm going to call him now. Okay. Jim Schwartz has been arrogant since his first day on the job. Everyone forgets that in that first season, the rumblings of him trying to be better than Doug so he could replace Doug was there. And then it all went away because of 2017 and everybody was happy. Everyone remember that Super Bowl, right? Where Tom Brady threw for like 1,000 yards and they scored like all kinds
of record, right?
They didn't punt.
I think it was a record.
Punt. Okay. So let's stop this. Jim Schwartz knows what he's doing. Jim Schwartz has never been an elite coordinator. He's never been an elite coordinator. He's another guy that thinks that the players he gets can fit into a system rather than adjusting a system to fit the players. That is arrogance to the highest level of arrogance. And then every friggin' week, when the press conferences come, and guys, I said this to you before we went on air, now I'm going to give it to the listeners. The Eagles press conferences have more excuses than my high school students on why they're not doing their homework. I mean, it is unbelievable. And it's like they just pass it back and forth. Oh, well, that's, I don't make the decisions on personnel. No, asshole, you do. You tell us all the time. We know that you have a hand in every defensive player that comes here. Don't tell me you don't have a say in it. And by the way, if you're letting little weasel up in the booth, Howie Roseman, tell you who dresses on a Saturday, that's a friggin' problem. If Jeff McClain's report is true,
that's wild.
Send Howie back to the broom closet. He can't do that. You cannot have that.
Yeah, was that Jeff McClain? I saw Chris Infante report.
Jeff McClain, and what that, because now what's happening is Howie Roseman's trying to be the smartest guy in the room, and he refuses to admit when he messes up draft picks. Hence, Mac Hollins last year playing over all those receivers.
Greg Ward
being the guy. Hence, this year, you want to sell me on some of these guys, and you got a guy that has done something that no Eagle wide receiver has done maybe since Terrell Owens in Travis Fulgham, who goes up and catches the ball at the top of his route. That's not stuff you can teach. That's just a gamer. I don't know if it's a flash in the pan, but everything I see from Travis Fulgham is a gamer. He looks like he's been there before. He runs crisp routes. He goes up and gets it. Carson hasn't thrown the ball like that since 2017, the guys, where he says, you know what? I got the confidence that my guy's going to make a play. Where was this guy? Why was he not on the team week one? I don't get it. So I've taken up way more time than I should have. Screw Jim Schwartz. Screw Nate Gary. Give me the young linebackers because they cannot be worse than him. And let's roll.
All right, we got some comments here. I'm going to throw it to Dylan. James says, fire Doug. The Eagles are the Sixers 2.0. You might be on something there.
Doc, baby. Doc's bringing us back to the promised land.
Yeah. Totally agree. James says, yo, you need to get a stop. Who you got? Raul Neto or Nate Gary? That's fantastic. Actually, I'll 100% go Raul Neto there. Absolutely. Not even a question.
1,000 times I'll take Neto in that situation.
Neto doesn't hurt you. He actually just plays really good ball. We have Coyle, my man, joining, says, call the timeout, Jimmy. Let me get a high point. Hallelujah. All right. Go ahead, Dylan. You're up, man.
I was actually feeling pretty good after a loss for once, and you guys have just bumped me right back down to earth for this group therapy session we're about to have for a little bit.
That's what these pods really are.
Yes.
1,000.
So first to touch on a few things you guys said. The Eagles 110% lost this game solely because of the defense. There's no other way around it. The offense, against as depleted as they were, Lane Johnson's hobbled all game and leaves the game against one of the best defenses in football, in my opinion. Scored 29 points. Should have scored over 30 if Jake Elliott does the only job he's asked to do as a member of the Philadelphia Eagles. Nate Gary is, and I'm not just saying this because he pisses me off, he's the worst linebacker, maybe football player I've ever seen step on a football field, and it's not a joke. Dude,
I just feel bad for him at this point.
There's so much video evidence. There's so much video evidence and the screenshots of tape on social media of him not even knowing where the ball is on the field. His back is to the play. He's looking like there was a picture of one of the end arounds to Chase Claypool in the game. And dude, the play, it's not like he had to keep spy on Ben in case somehow he held on to it. The play has already developed past the line of scrimmage on the other side of the field, and his back is to the ball, and he's still looking at Ben. And Ben's just standing there with his hands like this. Like, it doesn't, like, it's not like he's shocked that Ben doesn't have the ball. Like, he has no idea where he is. I'm with you guys. Sean Bradley, play any of it. It can't get worse than what you have right now. People just need to understand that if you're trying to defend Nate Gary. Like, oh, well, at least he's a veteran. Like, the young guys aren't ready yet. Well, it can't get worse. So just see what they got raw talent-wise. The whole Jim Schwartz thing and evaluating talent, after Travis Fulgham caught, I think, like his 8th catch a day, I sent out a tweet on Sunday. Like, I don't know if you guys know, I don't know how long he's been on the practice squad for the Eagles because he was bounced around from so many practice squads. So he could have only been here a couple weeks. I have no idea on that. But it's clear through a game and a quarter that when he caught the game-winning touchdown against San Fran, that this kid can play. And you're just rotating receivers in and out. And it took the 9,000th injury at this position for him to get playing time and to show what he's got. And then I'm seeing Sidney Jones pick off Deshaun Watson. I'm seeing Rasul Douglas over the last couple of weeks play great coverage against Calvin Ridley and DeAndre Hopkins a few weeks ago. Look, and it could just be a fluke. But to me, it just goes back to what Rob said. Jim Schwartz has this system. You either fit in it or you don't. And they filter these guys in here and these draft picks in here and these free agents in here. And if they don't fit, it looks really, really bad.
Guess who's coming into town? I don't even know. Yeah, it's a home game. So guess who's coming into town? LJ Fort. Do you know who?
Yeah, I know. I said that earlier on my pod. A guy that we just decided wasn't good enough.
Orlando freaking
For Orlando.
That guy is making plays all over the defense for Baltimore.
So there's two things that stuck out to me, right? I'm actually okay. Dibes, you were as fired up as I've seen you on this pod, and I'm kind of mellow. I didn't expect the Eagles to win this game, and they showed me a lot of fight in a gut check game, and then within the gut check game, they get another gut check within it when they go down 17 points in the second half, and Carson brings them back in the fourth. And in the fourth quarter, he could have left the field with the lead if Jake Elliott hits that field goal. The part that bothered me was, after 4 weeks of us wondering what this team is, what the identity of this team is, and for 2 weeks the defensive line showed up, and they pile on these sack numbers against two bad teams at the moment, and they lead the league in sacks. And then Pittsburgh, their opponent last week, was second in the league in sacks. Well, what does Pittsburgh's defensive line go out and do? 5 sacks. Mm-hmm. You know how many this great defensive line had on Sunday in a game you needed them to step up? 1.
And I think it was right away. I think it was early in the first quarter.
It was. So 1 sack in a game. So we can talk about the linebackers. They were awful. We can talk about not keeping outside contain, as me and Rob love to do, because they got beat with 19 end arounds once again somehow.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, it's like this is a professional football team, right? And the fact that teams are game planning reverses every week, even teams that never run reverses, is an absolute embarrassment and abomination of a defense. And we could say it's personnel. Yes, I'm sure it is, but it is also coaching. Like, Jim, get your shit together. Because, yeah, I mean, look, I don't know how the guy still has a job. I don't. I really don't. Howie had no problem firing the offensive coordinators. Why he's not just coming in and getting rid of him and letting some of these other defensive coaches handle it for the rest of the year is beyond me. It is an abomination to watch. And you said it, Dylan. The empty stats that people try and give you when they want to defend Jim Schwartz are ridiculous, are absolutely ridiculous. Think about the last few years. Think about that damn sticks defense where if I see it once again, as I said a couple weeks ago, I want to take those sticks and shove them somewhere into the body of Jim Schwartz. Okay?
That's when you saw Jalen Mills playing 10 yards off, and I think it was a cross route. And you don't – Jalen Mills is not an athletic cornerback.
First of all,
he's not even a good cornerback. So that was mind-blowing that you would – in that situation, I think it was like a 3rd and 4. It was just, like you said, an abomination, Rob.
So, speaking of Jalen Mills, I can't stand him either.
And
if you guys noticed, in a critical moment in this game, I talked about it on Monday, that no one seems to talk about. He is so lucky that another yellow flag marker was not thrown on the field in a critical moment because he finally makes a tackle shy of the sticks on Juju Smith-Schuster. And this asshat bends over and gets in Juju's face and starts talking shit, and then he gets up and there's a shoving match. He's so lucky that wasn't taunting. I don't know how it wasn't. If there's ever a taunting flag in the NFL, that's it. Marcus Epps on that touchdown play you're talking about, Dibes, he missed it open field. Marcus Epps should not step on the field as a Philadelphia Eagle.
Jim Schwartz has his guys. Like, you cannot convince – he drafts his guys. He picks specifically his guys. Jalen Mills is on the top of the shit list.
So let me wrap up with this. The defense, obviously, if it hasn't been clear to everyone that's watching or going to watch this, the defense is the reason the Eagles lost. The offense is why I'm mellowed out today and feeling okay at their loss. I am more okay after this Pittsburgh Steelers loss than I was after the San Francisco 49ers win. And I mean that because you were in the game till you went down swinging, so to speak, against a team that you had that was coming off a bye, was well rested. They're undefeated. I don't care who they played so far. Hall of Fame coach, Hall of Fame quarterback. They have weapons that we knew were going to kill this team, not to the extent that Chase Claypool did, and their defense is loaded. And Carson, with one remaining starter of the 5 on the offensive line, with Miles Sanders outside of the touchdown run not being a factor, and Travis Fulgham as his number 1 wide receiver, Carson Wentz played his best game of the entire year, building off a decent game he had against the 49ers. And he's finally, Rob, you alluded to it, and this is my final point. How does Carson get confidence to get him out of his slump? He has to trust what's around him. And I know that's hard to do, but he's found a guy he seems to trust in Travis Fulgham. And now that was big for me. Because now you get a little bit healthier. Travis Fulgham no longer has to be your number 1 option. He's your number 2 or 3 option. He doesn't have to go against the team's number 1 corner anymore as long as they get healthy, like I'm alluding to. And so offensively speaking, great game. Defensively, abomination.
Any response to that, Rob?
One thing, I want to rip Jalen Mills' finger off of his hand so he can't wag it when he does nothing. I agree. Listen, Carson, I thought played his best game of the year. I mean, I really do. Like, I know that he had the 2 picks. I get that, but he looked confident. I love the way he's taking off in games now. He's not afraid to move a little bit. So I've liked all that. Here's my one problem with the offense. You ran the ball 11 times, and I get that you were down for a lot of that game. I understand that. But Miles Sanders needs to touch the ball more than 11 times a game. Yeah. I understand he only had the 1 big run and everything else wasn't working. You cannot abandon it. You can't abandon it. And they just totally go, and that's listen, I think we almost have to live with it. That's Doug. I mean, that's just what he
does. That's his MO.
Wait, stop.
When he doesn't, they win. It's so maddening.
Yeah.
Then Doug needs to stop calling him a 3-down back like he said today. He needs to stop calling him his bell cow back because he doesn't treat him as such. I didn't bring that up because I wanted to stay positive on the offense. If there is a negative, I talked about it on my show earlier. It's that he went away from the run. Like you said, I know they were down by 17 in the second half. I know outside of the 74-yard touchdown run, the running game wasn't really there. The Steelers were taken away. But you have to keep them honest. You have to put the ball in your best playmaker's hands in this game. The field goal drive, think about that. On that 3rd and 5, that should have been a draw, no matter what. Also, going back to Chip Schwartz here, Chip Kelly, can we run the ball from under center? Does that no longer exist? Get Miles Sanders running north and south. Is that a thing anymore, or is it just delayed handoff? He stutters, and then the defensive line is in the backfield in 2 seconds.
Yeah, we never see a delayed handoff. And that's something that I think we've done pretty well at Party on Broad. We've called out Doug's offensive scheme, the 2 tight end sets. It's not working. And that being said, there's injuries everywhere across the board, and that obviously changes the playbook top to bottom. But come on, Doug. Show some freaking creativity. Let's get to the comments, and we're going to get on to the Ravens. James says, also, Zach Ertz needs to get an extension or get traded.
Whoa. What the hell has he done to earn an extension? And look, I was the biggest fan of giving him one, but what he's done this year is proved one of 2 things. Either A, he's lost a step and he's on the downside of his career, or he is not nearly as mentally tough as I thought he was, and he is allowing this to affect him. And if that's the case, you could send his ass packing. He's doing nothing. I mean, that interception by Carson is as much on Ertz as it is on Carson because he got bumped and stopped.
Yep.
He stopped.
It's wild, right?
Timing route. Carson's throwing it to where he's supposed to be. And granted, it probably is picked either way because of the bump. It should have been an illegal contact, but he stopped. And then he had 2 catches the rest of the game for 4 yards. Don't give me the extent. Listen, I was a big fan of him. And I was pushing for it at the beginning of the year. He don't deserve nothing other than a bus ticket right now. If he don't pick it up this week.
I talked to Berman about this. I asked him this question, and his response was from what he sees in the locker room, from what he sees in practice, Zach Ertz is putting the work in. But it is so shocking to see Carson and Zach Ertz not be on the same page, out of sync. Their timing is way off. I don't know what's going on. And you talk about a shortened off season with COVID-19, that was the last thing I thought would happen. Coaching was the last problem I thought that would be for the Philadelphia Eagles this season. So Zach Ertz, Carson, Doug, you see across the NFC East, I guess the NFC East is really terrible, but let's actually talk about, that's a really nice segue. My man Ryan said the Eagles need to tank. Problem is everyone else in the division is as well. And he says, my man Coyle says, I don't want to win this division with 5 or 6 wins. We need a good draft pick. What is your vibe on that?
He'll mess it up.
He can still mess it up. How can he mess up any pick outside of number 1 or 2? I don't do anything right. Everyone forgets that. Whatever. My vibe on that is this. I am always someone who wants playoff experience for my young guys. So, I'm someone that looks at it and says, I want Carson to play a full playoff game. I want Miles Sanders in the playoffs. I want Jalen Reagor and now Travis Fulgham. I want these guys to get that experience. Here's the thing that I think people are not understanding, right? When Dak went down, and by the way, seriously, prayers to that guy because he's been through a ton this year. They've screwed him over. They should have paid him money, and they haven't. And now here he is with this injury. And my hope for him is that he rebounds, goes somewhere else, and wins somewhere else, and sticks it right up Jerry Jones' ass. Personally, that's my hope. But people are missing something. The Cowboys made a really good under-the-radar move that no one wanted to talk about this year. And that was signing a guy like Andy Dalton to be your backup. Now, I know Andy Dalton has struggled throughout his career, but you got to remember where he's been. Okay. Now, Andy Dalton, and you saw it on that last couple of drives of that Dallas game, he has got weapons galore on that offense. Their defense could be historically bad. I'm not saying they're not. But to me, the Cowboys' schedule favors them getting the 9 or 10 wins.
Okay.
More than the Eagles' schedule favors them to getting to, say, 7 or 8, because the Eagles' schedule is just so much tougher this year. So I don't know if we're going to have to worry about it. Like, I still think Dallas is the clear-cut favorite to win this division as things stand here in Week 5 because of their schedule and because that offense is frigging prolific.
Wow.
I mean, they are really good, and Andy Dalton's a smart enough veteran to lead them to the playoffs.
Never in my wildest dreams would I expect the Cowboys secondary to be as bad or worse than the Eagles linebackers. My man Ryan says Jurassic Park is on TV. Hold on to your butts. Oh, man.
So is Shawshank.
Guys, have a good night.
I got Shawshank on right now in the background. Shawshank is on, and I am in love right now.
You have James saying Jalen Mills is so overrated. Brian, what's up, Brian? Thanks for joining, dude. It says Ravens win 31-17. We're going to get into that. Quill, do you go after Le'Veon Bell? Any thoughts on that, guys?
Well, listen, when it was a trade, I was totally against it. The only way that I would do it is if he took like a Leonard Fournette type of one-year deal, low money, just to be a secondary back. Because, listen, I love the story of Corey Clement. I love he's a local kid. I loved Boston Scott last year. These guys can't get it done. And to me, the league calls for 2 backs anymore. But I'll tell you, I'm not going out of my way for Le'Veon Bell. Like, I'm not overpaying. Like, it would have to be like a extremely team-friendly, come in, understand what your role is as the second back, and play it. But I'm not – let's put it this way. I'm not beating down the doors for that. I'm not beating down the doors for them bringing in a kicker to work out right now. I'm beating down the doors for a linebacker. That's what I'm beating down the doors for right now.
You know who you go after? Why is Michael Kendrick's phone still not ringing?
I want to know why Clay Matthews is still sitting out there. I want to know why this kid in Tennessee that's about to get released because he hasn't
He got traded to Jacksonville earlier today.
Oh, Jesus. Damn it. I was hoping he got released. I didn't know he ended up getting traded.
And I say no to Le'Veon Bell because obviously I'm for it, like if it works out the way Rob's alluding to, but what are you bringing him in for? Doug just gave his bell cow back 11 carries on Sunday. What's Le'Veon Bell coming in for? To get 2 touches a game?
Yeah. Lamar going to be taking our ankles from James. Need more screen passes and checkdowns. That is like the wildest thing that the Eagles went from with Andy Reid, like one of the best screen teams in the league. And then all of a sudden, like over the last 2 years, like it's where's Boston Scott in the screen game? Like, it is just a mystery that every time they seem to run it, the defense has it picked out every time.
And I wonder if that is a factor since the offensive line is a bunch of it's not the offensive line we're used to seeing run the screen game. Maybe these guys just are not there yet. I don't know. But I can tell you one thing. I need to stop seeing these. We're the only team that tries to run the wide receiver screen and gets nothing out of it. Every other team runs it. It gets 8 to 10 yards.
We can't run an end around either.
No.
Oh, my God.
No.
Well, that's because other teams know to stay home.
This is my favorite comment.
Hey, Chip, not to pick on you, but how do you like your last name being the same as Jim?
I'm going to the name changing office tomorrow.
All right, let's go on to a Week 6 preview. We're 30 minutes in. We finally got there. The 4-1 Baltimore Ravens take on the Eagles this Sunday at 1 p.m. The Ravens destroyed the Cincinnati Bengals 27-3 at home. This is good. The second game for the Ravens against the NFC East. The Ravens took down Washington 31-17 in Week 4. On the other end, the Eagles are coming off a loss, versus the Steelers. The Eagles are averaging 21 points a game, coughing up 30 points per game on defense. The Eagles are 28th in the league 322.4 total yards per game, and dead last in the league with 11 turnovers. The Eagles have a -7 turnover differential ratio. And Rob, what is a matchup storyline that you're watching for the Eagles when they take on the Baltimore Ravens this Sunday?
I mean, it's an easy one, but it's who is spying Lamar Jackson. And you have to account for him on every single play, which means you have to have a defensive player on the field whose only job is watch Lamar Jackson. Because honestly, I'm not blown away by their receivers. They have nice receivers, but I'm not blown away by them. I think Mark Andrews is a really good tight end, but he hasn't gone for more than 60 yards, I think, in a game yet this year. So to me, it's you got to neutralize Lamar. You're not going to stop him. He's going to have a couple runs in that game where we're all going to be pissed off, but you need to limit that. And guess what? Nate Gary's not the guy to do it. Okay. So I don't know if it's you got to work one of these other extra safeties to be that guy. I don't know if it's trying to get one of these younger line. Maybe this is the game where you get a Davion Taylor and you say, hey, your only job is to be the fast guy that you are on the field and follow number 8 everywhere. Maybe this is the game for him. We know he's not there yet as a full-out linebacker. But to spy a guy, it's almost like if you remember in the movie Remember the Titans, right? Petey fumbles the ball. He's ready to quit because Coach Boone's yelling at him. Coach Yost goes over to him and says, why don't you come play defense for me? He goes, I don't know the plays. He goes, I just want you to get out there and stick number 44. We'll worry about the rest later. That's what the conversation with Davion Taylor should be. Get out there and stick number 8. Don't care about anything else. You're on the field 100% of the snaps. That's what I would do. That's my matchup is Jim. Don't be a jackass. Davion Taylor the call. Tell him to spy Lamar Jackson and let's go play football. Because I think the Eagles can score with the Ravens if they can limit the Lamar Jackson experience.
I'm so glad you said. I said that on Monday. I said that on my show earlier, and I've kind of said it like, is that a stupid thing to say? Like, I don't know, because the kid's not ready. But his parents were track stars in college and everything. He was a track star. He's fast as shit. He's athletic as shit. He can hit hard and tackle in open field. I've been saying that since Monday. Will it work? I have no idea. And we know how much of an athletic freak Lamar Jackson is. So I don't even know if this kid can keep up with him. But why not? Like, your only job, that's what I've been saying. Your only job is to go out there and watch Lamar Jackson. That is it. And spy Lamar Jackson. Nate Gary can't do it. Alex Singleton can't do it.
Nate Gary couldn't spy the left tackle. He couldn't spy John Harbaugh on the sideline. That's the only guy he may be able to spy because his head is never on the ball. It's over somewhere else. Or maybe that's the one guy he can spy.
He's looking at the penis guy in the stand.
Yeah. And look at the 7,500 fans and go, wow, there's people here.
Little Sean Bradley love. Like, what did I tell you, Dylan, on your show the other week? Sean Bradley is going to be the reason for the Eagles' turnaround. Like, week 12, week 13. Sean Bradley is coming, baby. Go Temple.
He made a huge play on the goal line where he came up and laid the wood on James Conner. And literally, I watched. That's the only play I need to see, and I'm sitting and I'm going, he should be in the game. I don't know if he didn't do it, but he did something in one play that Nate Gary has never done. Never. Like, I agree that it's time to go to the young guys, because if you're going to go down, right, if your ship's going down, go down with the youth and get them experience. We've said that how many times on this show?
All right, I have Carson Wentz and the Eagles' offensive line versus the Ravens' front seven. The Ravens have one of the best defensive lines and front sevens in football, period. The Bengals had no answer for the Ravens on Sunday. Burrow was sacked 7 times, 15 quarterback hits. Similar to the matchup versus the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Ravens' front seven hits you in all areas, like the Steelers, cornerback, safety, defensive line. All 7 sacks from the Ravens on Sunday last week were spread across 7 different players. So, and you saw 4 of those were from defensive backs. So you're going to be seeing an Eagles young offensive line be really tested this week. The Ravens defense is the best in the NFL, yielding 15.2 points a game and a league best 0.2 points per play. Their front seven is fifth best in yards per rush attempt at 3.7 yards. So their front seven is absolutely stacked. My second storyline matchup to watch this week is the Eagles wide receivers versus the Ravens secondary. Marlin Humphrey is an absolute beast. Humphrey had 3 forced fumbles this season. He had his 4th takeaway last Sunday. This is a guy who is absolutely in conversation for Defensive Player of the Year. He had a sack and a forced fumble that was scooped up by Patrick Queen. I'm going to talk to him in a second. And then you have Marcus Peters, who had a strip sack last Sunday. The Ravens secondary is nothing like the Pittsburgh Steelers. So we talk about Travis Fulgham. He was kind of set up in a good situation. The Pittsburgh Steelers love the blitz, yet they have horrendous secondary. So that script is going to be completely flipped when you take on the Baltimore Ravens. And then my last matchup to watch, and this is kind of, we touched on it, is the rookies continuing to burn the Eagles. Patrick Queen was taken 28th in last year's draft. This guy is already one of the best playmaking linebackers in the NFL. This is a guy who had a strip sack. He scored on a forced fumble last Sunday. And then you have Devin Duvernay, who had a 42-yard reversal, I think. And we saw what Brandon Ayuk can do to this Eagles defense. That's what you're going to get from the Baltimore Ravens. They pound the run inside. They pound it. Then what do? Get Lamar Jackson out of the pocket, reversals, misdirections. That is the Eagles' kryptonite on defense. So any response to that, Ralph?
Yeah, Dodge, don't worry about it, man. We drafted Jalen Hurts in the second round. Instead of drafting, someone that could actually help you. I remember the night of the draft when the Ravens traded up and drafted Duvernay, and they had a camera on Harbaugh in his home, and he went bonkers. Like, he was so excited to get this guy. Now we know why. He's got a whole game plan for this guy. One area, listen, I think Marcus Peters is a very inconsistent player, and I think he's someone that can be had. I have a strange feeling that the wide receivers you're going to see out there on Sunday are going to be Fulgham, Ward, Alshon Jeffrey. I think Alshon's going to play this week. I don't know about Deshaun. Like, I've gotten to a point where I'm almost just out on him because I just can't play this game anymore. I mean, it's tough for the guy. It's not like he's not trying, but he just gets hurt too much.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, I think I heard, I forget who the reporter was talking about Alshon, and they said his demeanor has been very different in the locker room this year. He hasn't been that sourpuss. He's really been working to get back. Maybe it's like one of those, epiphany moments for the guy, like, shit, my career's going down. And maybe he has this one last gasp where he at least can contribute. I don't expect him to be the old Alshon. But now if you're putting those two guys, him and Fulgham, on the outside, and you're getting a Greg Ward in the slot, and you have your Miles Sanders, and maybe Zach Ertz wakes up, now you're talking about some weapons. And you can't cover all those weapons. I think Baltimore's defense is very good, but I don't know if they have enough pieces to take everybody away. So I do believe the Eagles are going to be able to score in this game. Now,
okay,
you got to be balanced, even if it's not working. I mean, the stats are astronomical when the Eagles run, when their offense is more balanced, how much better of a football team they are.
Wow.
This is a game.
Rocket science.
Yeah, right. And this is specifically a game where when you have Lamar Jackson and a high-powered offense on the other side, you got to play ball control. You have to keep the ball out of Lamar's hands. This game, right, they're 1-3-1. This game has a lot of feels to me as the Green Bay game last year, Buffalo game last year, where it's like no one is really giving them a chance because it just hasn't looked great. But if you can go into one of these games and you could ball control a team and keep the score close, I know people are down on Jake Elliott for the miss, but I don't expect Jake Elliott to miss that field goal every week. I just don't. I mean, he just missed that one. I mean, it just pushed.
Sorry to interrupt, but you know what I first thought of during that situation was that New York Giants game when the Eagles they made that field goal versus the New York Giants, and that kind of led into a momentum shift for the Eagles late in the season. I think it was 2018. I could be wrong, or 27. I'm drawing a blank right now. Coulda, woulda, shoulda.
Yeah.
Sorry,
No, you're good. And listen, that stadium, there's no stadium where the wind blows crazier than up in Pittsburgh. I mean, that's been documented for years and years. I listen. This game's got just such a weird feel for me, in a positive way, and I don't know why. Like there's no like rationalization to it,
All
but
right.
I just feel like the Eagles' offense found something, and if they can balance their offense and continue to bring guys back, they can continue to score. And the one thing about Jim Schwartz's defenses it's rare they get embarrassed 2 weeks in a row.
Well said.
It is rare they get embarrassed. And I don't know if that's the players or if that's him, but you don't really see this team giving up 40 points a game twice in a week or in 2 straight weeks under Jim Schwartz. It's not Billy Davis, back there. So we'll see.
There it is. So the Eagles defense will be absolutely beastly this Sunday, and Carson will throw for 3 interceptions because that's how we roll in Philadelphia.
Take a 30, baby.
Dylan, I'm just messing around, but that's really the inconsistency of what the storyline has been the last 2 years. Dylan, any final thoughts on that before we get into game predictions?
Yeah. So hold on. Let me pull up this comment. Want to see the key? Right there.
Yes.
Period.
Okay.
Well said.
So you guys talked about it. So I'm not going to get too in depth to it. But this Ravens team is 3rd in rushing in yards per game on offense. They're 31st in passing yards per game. Somehow, some way, make Lamar Jackson beat you with his arm, and that's not going to happen. Now, it's not just Lamar that you have to contain because Mark Ingram and Dobbins, they use that, it's not RPO, but it's the Lamar put it in their chest and then he reads the defense. And if he wants to hand it off or keep it, it's the read option. If you can slow down, I'm not even saying stop. If you can slow down their running game to where, and Lamar's not busting out big 40, 30, 40, 60-yard runs here and there, this Eagles defense is going to have success. I agree with Rob. For whatever reason, they don't tend to get embarrassed twice in a row. That's why he throws you off so much. Like he comes out, gets embarrassed, then they regroup and look really good. And it's like, okay, maybe he figured it out, and then doesn't ever happen. But so I don't expect him to get embarrassed. The other thing, I saw a comment where, and Rob was talking about balancing, right? So with being balanced, a key for me is for the Eagles to get ahead early. And when I say get ahead early, I don't mean 7-0, 10-3. I'm talking double digits, 14-3, 17-7, somewhere in that ballpark. Get out quick and get up quick, because we've seen it in the Chiefs game. And I'm not comparing the Kansas City Chiefs offense to the Eagles, okay? So don't get that twisted. But it's well documented in that broadcast that this Ravens team, and going back to last year in the playoffs versus Tennessee, they do not play. They have to play their brand of football, their style of football, and that's the running. That's running the ball. They do not play well from behind when they can't play their style of offense. If you get up on them early and make Lamar beat you with his arm, you will have success. But I also agree with somehow, some way, they have to get healthy. There's a comment here that says no one wants Alshon. Bullshit. I don't know what you're getting out of him. I will gladly take Alshon Jeffrey back this week with the slop that we have at wide receiver. And I'm with you. I'm with you with Deshaun Jackson. Like it's getting irritating at this point. But even if you have him back, because it's the unknown. Like maybe, like if you can get Carson with these weapons, I would much rather have Alshon Jeffrey and Deshaun Jackson with Fulgham and Ward than Fulgham and Ward being your 1 and 2s. Also, John Hightower, he is getting separation like I've never seen before. He just has to haul in the ball. He
really?
has a few passes early, but he's
Quez drew a pass interference late in that game.
Right.
You know
And
what I mean?
don't
Maybe
forget, you're going to get Jalen Reagor back in a couple weeks.
And don't forget, guys, Big Whiteside's there too. He made a catch.
Who?
Made a catch.
Yeah.
Good job. Good job,
So-
Jay Jaw. Good job, buddy.
Get out early. Get them out of their style of play. Make Lamar beat you with his arm. And oh my God, keep outside contain, especially against a mobile quarterback like Lamar
What?
Jackson.
What's that?
Every week I see Derek Barnett coming in to try to take someone's head off, and then
Every time.
there goes the running back or receiver the other way.
Well said, Dylan. You saw the Baltimore Ravens get out to a huge lead. They were up 17-0 on the Cincinnati Bengals last Sunday within like the first part of the second quarter. That can't happen. You cannot let the Ravens set the tone like that. Well said, Dylan. Let's get into game predictions. This is a tale of two different franchises right now. The Eagles have been like the most hot and cold NFL team of all time, at least these last 2 years. The Ravens, on the other end, are 18-4 in the last 22 regular season games. Lamar Jackson, we all know him. We just talked about him. You got one franchise that's literally on the rise, and then another franchise that literally can't get their shit together on both sides of the field. Rob, what's your game prediction for Sunday?
Well, first of all, if J.K. Dobbins comes in here and dominates, I'm letting everyone know that I will be texting, we took Jalen Hurts at 53 or tweeting at least 100 times because Dobbins was the guy that was there that you could have had. Just going to throw that out there. Listen, the Eagles play the Ravens in Philly really well. I don't know the last time that I'm trying to think back to 8 years ago.
Like Kevin Cobb?
Like,
Was
no.
it Kevin Cobb who was thrown into the Ravens? Like, who was that?
At Baltimore. Like, here, it's to me, the two games that stick out, and it's probably the last two that they were here because it's every 8 years, I guess they travel here, was T.O. doing the Ray Lewis dance 16 years ago. And 8 years ago, they won a game late. They had a lead. It was a really loud stadium, I remember. And Flacco, threw the ball to the end zone on a fourth down, and they didn't. The Eagles won the game. This game will come down to exactly what Dylan said. If this thing is close and the Ravens don't build a lead, I think the Eagles have them where they want them. I really do. I really think that this is a game that everyone thinks the Eagles should lose. They're on paper not as good as the Baltimore Ravens, but somehow, some way, and who knows, maybe it's having 7,500 Eagles fans in the building. Maybe that makes, just from a mental side, seeing people there makes a difference for them. I don't know. I really don't. But I think the Eagles are going to find a way to win this game Sunday. And I'm going to go 31-27. The Eagles win, and of course, they're going to win, and Philadelphia's going to start talking like they're the greatest thing ever. Pump the brakes on that. But I do think the Eagles win Sunday.
What about you, Dylan?
I'm with Rob. So I think we're going to get 2/3 win. I said it on my podcast earlier. We did game predictions at the end of breaking down the Eagles and Ravens, and I slid my clown mask down in front of my face. I'm with Rob. There's no rational reason because there's so much defensively that they're going to have to do. But I just think it gets done. Like I said, he's not going to beat you with his arm. I want everyone to understand that. And if Schwartz can game plan, and you guys can call me crazy, but this would be a week in practice, and because I know Carson's mobile, but Jalen Hurts is more mobile, this would be a week in practice. I'm making the first-team defense practice a lot against Jalen Hurts, moving out of the pocket, running, design, I'm drawing a blank on what I'm thinking. Go ahead, Rob. Why?
I was going to say, if they drafted Jalen Hurts and they do not use him as the Lamar Jackson title for this week of practice, I swear to God, I have no idea what's happening. You should not do anything else but let Jalen Hurts be the scout team quarterback. Yep. And you should give him a number 8 jersey. Let them get used to a number 8 on the jersey.
Yeah, so that's something. Health obviously is a concern going in, but I just have this feeling that Carson continues to progress. They do get healthier in the skill position. like with Alshon, and I think D-Jax will be back. Will Parks might play this week, which doesn't sound like, oh, but it's something defensively. It takes a linebacker off the field at times, which is always a plus for this defense. So I'm with Rob, and I'm honestly going to say Eagles 31, Ravens 26.
Jesus. All right. So obviously I'm on the other end of the spectrum. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Like I got to be honest here. Like you have a team, the Baltimore Ravens, who play the right way, and they play a way that is literally how you beat the Eagles. You saw the Steelers put up 39 points against the Eagles, and there were times when they were when they ran the misdirection play, they set it up nicely, but they should have been doing it over and over and over again, and they didn't, and they still put up 39 points. Guess what the Ravens do? They do a lot of what you're going to see or what you saw against the Cincinnati Bengals. They're going to spread you out. You're going to see Andrews, the tight end, in the red zone. You're going to see Lamar Jackson roll out of the pocket, and I just don't trust this defense to get the takeaways that they have to do. And the Baltimore Ravens, they're one of the top teams in the NFL in takeaways, in turnover differential. That's where I'm at. So I'm going 34-17. The Ravens get the W here, not the Eagles. Sorry, guys. Let's get to the comments, and then we'll do plugs. Oh, wait. Go ahead, Rob. Yeah.
There's something on Twitter. I don't know how warranted this site is. Just about little NFL news that Le'Veon Bell is being expected to sign with the Kansas City Chiefs tomorrow.
Oh, man.
Now, it's saying per multiple reports, but that there might be 4 other teams. Like, I don't know if this is just somebody, trying to make a name for themselves, but they have 69,000 followers on Twitter. So I kind of looked at that and said,
oh, got it. Yeah.
Maybe they know something, but just throwing that out there since we did talk about him today. Go ahead.
All right. Brian says the Eagles need to control the clock and not allow the Ravens offense to score. Amen. They need to run the ball. Alshon needs to get traded. He is out of his prime. No one wants Alshon. Let's go. Yeah.
So you guys,
keep that same energy next week if he does something this week.
Oh, man.
You guys are okay with the slop that gets thrown? I'd rather kick the tires and see how the vet does.
J. Joe or Alshon? Just answer me that.
Not even close. Not even close. J. Joe all the way, right?
Yeah.
He's such a joke. I made a tweet the other day, like his greatest play as a Philadelphia Eagle was like on a run block. Was that like for Miles Sanders, like 74-yard run? That's his best play as an Eagle. That guy's a bum. Let's do plugs and end this show. Rob, you're up, man.
All right, so the Madness will be looking to return tomorrow night. We've had a couple weeks off here, a couple things happening, but Jess and me should be back. We're going to be talking Eagles, but we haven't been on the air since Doc Rivers was hired, so we will discuss that a little bit. And I also need to discuss the joke of a franchise that the Phillies are, that there's now reports that they believe that they are going to lose JT Realmuto, which when your $350 million man is getting on a plane wearing a JT Realmuto jersey saying he just needs to be signed, no questions asked, you sign his ass. Like that's it. Like that's all I want to hear. So we're kind of we'll hop around the Philadelphia sports scene, but obviously a lot of Eagles. So tune in right here on the Painted Lines YouTube tomorrow night. I believe 8:30 is when we're going.
Dylan, you're up, man.
The Faithful Fanatics podcast is no longer kicking off for Rob and the Madness on Thursday nights. We switched till today, Wednesdays at 5:30. It'll be every week. So go check that out on Twitter, on TPL's Twitter. Also for the Faithful Fanatics, go to manscaped.com. Use my promo code FAITHFULPH. It's faithful with a PH. Get 20% off and free shipping on any purchase order. So
be careful, Dylan. Ian Rappaport got suspended for doing it.
I know.
So be very careful how you word this. All right.
So go check it out.
Oh man, I've been busy, guys. I've been very, very busy. Where do I begin? NBA draft content. If you love the NBA draft, go check out the Painted Lines YouTube channel. I have been pumping out scouting videos of all the top prospects with the help of my man Tiago and Austin. I think they're really, really solid. You let me know. Comment, watch them. The Painted Lines YouTube channel. The Mandalorian's coming out in 2 weeks. So I've been pumping out content on The Mandalorian. I've done a top 10 moments post. I've done a power rankings on The Mandalorian. And I've got a post. Ahsoka Tano, my queen, is going to make her live screen debut in The Mandalorian Season 2. So I've got a 5-reason post why Ahsoka Tano is the greatest Star Wars character of all time.
Wow.
We have a horror movie draft going down right now. The first round just ended, and I took the W. I'm heading into, I think, the Elite 8. I've got what do I got? I got Jaws. I've got wow. I'm blanking on my team. Holy crap!
I know who you have. I looked at it. American Psycho.
I've got American Psycho. I've got Pan's Labyrinth. I've got really good teams. I think I'm one of the contenders. Of course I think that. But anyway, moving on. Every
round now.
That's probably
right.
Go vote now for my team. That's probably going down right now, the second round. I'm not sure. I've been podcasting. We just did a reaction pod to the first round results, literally right before we started recording here. So that's been fun. And again, make sure you check out thepaintedlines.com. We've got so much NBA draft content out there, and we got some really fun guests. Michael Levin from Rice to Ricky Sanchez is joining. We're going to do some Sixers draft pods in the near future. We've already done like 30 of them, but we're really ramping up right now. My man Tiago's got a huge Sixers draft pick guide coming out for thepaintedlines.com. It's going to be awesome. What else can I plug? That's really it. I think. When are we doing our post-game show? Because my one of my best friends has a gender reveal party on Sunday, so I'm not going to be able to do a pre and post-game show on Sunday. So I'll be drinking and having a ton of fun with my man. Maybe Monday. Do you guys want to do Monday?
Yeah. We can make that work. My school had to just go back virtual again. So
not working out too well.
And I listen, by the way, so I actually went and got my first COVID test today. Man, is that uncomfortable.
We should do a pod on that.
I knew what I was going into, but it honestly makes your whole body, it just makes your whole body go like this for the 10 seconds. It's unbelievable. So stay safe out there, ladies and gentlemen, because this crap is no joke, and I don't want to ever have to do that test again. So,
all right, let's wrap this up. Make sure you go follow my man Rob on Twitter at @Philly_Madness. Check out the Madness podcast with Jessica Town tomorrow night, Thursday nights at 8 p.m., right? 8 p.m.?
Yeah, I think we're going 8:30 tomorrow night, but typically 8 p.m.
8:30 p.m. tomorrow night on Thursday. Check that out.
You guys.
What's that?
I said, what's with it with you guys?
I don't know.
What's with it, Rob?
I don't even know what day it is anymore. Follow my man Dylan on Twitter at DylanJD98. Check out the Faithful Fanatics podcast on Twitter. I think it's Faithful Fans, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. For Dylan, for Rob, for myself, thanks for watching, guys. Stay awesome.